It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of September 2nd, 1994. Labor Day weekend that was pretty much packed than usual. I mean, there was more than just a couple of movies there, and some notable movies in particular. But the question is any of them going to be any good? Well, certainly not this first movie. The biggest new release of the weekend: Melanie Griffith and Ed Harris starring in Milk Money, and you could pretty much see right from the trailer where this movie went wrong.
I know a place where the girls are naked all the time.
Where is this? What are you talking about?
The city.
Sooner or later, every boy has questions about the facts of life.
It says in this magazine that there's a spot on a woman you can touch to drive her completely insane.
What are you studying? Religion?
Sex.
For answers, Frank Wheeler and his friends went to the
You
city
can take your clothes off for $103.62. Oh.
and hired an expert.
Are you, what I think you are?
Oh my God. Look at the way she walks. That is bad. It is. It's very, very bad. And look, over there, it's a girl. What do you say?
Thank you.
Dad, this is V. V, this is Dad.
Hello.
Oh, Dad.
What's she doing here?
Her car broke down.
Yeah, but who is she?
No smoking, no swearing, and don't take your clothes off for money. You gotta get rid of her, she'll tell our parents. She's not gonna tell. She's my friend. She's gonna marry my dad. People like your dad don't marry women like me. I told him what you did, and he didn't mind. She's Brad's new math tutor.
I bet you're really good at it.
Well, there's only one way to find out. I need some help with my homework. What's the subject? This is a woman. Is it true there's a place on a woman you can touch to make her completely insane?
In my experience, there is no such place.
Poor man. She's funny, she watches cartoons, and she likes ice cream. She scores a 98 out of a possible 100, losing 1 point because she's a total stranger, and the other because your entire relationship is based on a lie.
You only lose 1 point for that? I feel a strong, almost mammalian pull towards you.
Melanie Griffith,
Say it again.
What?
The mammal word.
Ed Harris,
Mammalian.
Yes, that's it. Which brings us to sex.
Milk Money.
Dude, what was going on in 1994? I mean, this is the second movie that's been like this that we've looked at that has made me go, what were they thinking? I mean, we already looked at Blank Check, which is the movie where you have this older woman, Karen Duffy, kissing this kid about like 12, 13 years old on the lips, and it's just like, and now you have this movie here, which is just like, this is just wrong on so many levels. I mean, just this idea that these high school kids are just like, no, we want to go to the city to see a naked woman, and it's just like, excuse me, it's just like, what were they thinking? And I think this movie was like a hot script at the time they bought it. I think the writer of this actually sold it for over $1 million. It was like a spec script that was sold for $1 million, and one of the producers on it, Dino De Laurentiis, which is a name you might be familiar with, actually sued the writer of it, alleging that his agent made a verbal agreement to sell the film to his company, but eventually sold it to Paramount when they sold it to him for a little bit more. And this was actually set up to be a film by Joe Dante, which, I mean, maybe he could have made this work, considering what Joe Dante has done in the past, but no, there was really no way to save this movie. This is a film that was just like, what a mess of a film this movie is, and the fact that this small town is just so enthralled by this hooker that comes to town, and it's just like, what was Melanie Griffith thinking picking these really bad movies? She picked a ton of these bad movies back then, but this may be the very worst one, and it's not like she's not trying to save it. I mean, she and Ed Harris are trying their best to save it, but when it has to go back to what this film is supposed to be about, these three kids who want to see a naked lady, it's just like, do we really need to do this? Like, do we really need to go get this icky with it? And it's just not good. It's just a movie that's just so ewy on so many levels, and everybody's trying, and like I said, Melanie Griffith and Ed Harris are trying their best to save it, but even they can't really save it because the script is just so bad. And Richard Benjamin, man, I mean, like, he's made some great stuff in the past, but man, this is another one where he's just kind of like, what were you thinking when you said yes to this? Like, just, it's wrong on so many levels. It's not a very good movie at all. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's not charming. It's just ew. It's just ewy. It's just ewy on so many levels. And it's just like, I don't know what was going on in 1994 that we had so many of these movies. But lo and behold, we did. So yeah, that's Milk Money for you. Let's move on to a much better movie, and that is Whoopi Goldberg and Ray Liotta in Corrina Corrina.
When your mother's gone, growing up can be tough.
What's with her? Can't catch a tongue?
Especially for the housekeeper.
I was wondering if you had any experience with children.
I love kids. I have a real way with children. Yeah, I love kids. I ran the nursery in prison.
绝对不许玻璃窗了。No window.
Tua bambina. E mia bambina. I get very nervous. If I put my head down between my legs, I'll be a little better.
But then one day, along came Corrina.
Hello, kid. My name's Corrina.
Do you know how to drive? I'm an old pro.
I was just testing the brakes. It'll do your heart good to know they're fine.
She's not exactly what they were looking for.
Why don't we vacuum ourselves right into the car and go get some dinner because I'm starving?
Isn't it fun to make things shiny?
I think the thrill for me is gone.
She's not exactly what they expected.
It's a good thing we're not tickles.
But they're finding out
Anybody want some more? Anybody want any?
she's exactly what they needed.
Hold on, please. It's for you.
Oh, yeah, my lovely.
Now look, this is nice, huh? Can't fit in there. I can still fit in something. You cannot. Have you seen what's behind you recently?
That's the funny thing you ever told me your whole life. How come girls have chi-chis but boys don't?
Just lucky, I guess.
Corrina Corrina,
Who do you think everyone who made this prospect? Oh, Lois.
a romantic comedy.
Okay, when I said better, I didn't mean like great movie and all, but I mean it's certainly a lot better than Milk Money is. But you know, truth be told, this movie isn't terrible. It's not the worst. It has a good idea to it. I mean, this idea that Ray Liotta and Whoopi Goldberg play this interracial couple that end up getting together while she's trying to raise his kid as a nanny, and it almost works, but you never really feel the chemistry they have there together. It's one of those movies where I think was trying to say much more than what they end up putting on the screen, and I don't know if it's the fault of this director, Jesse Nelson, who actually went on to make a really good movie later on down the road with I Am Sam, and then kind of ended their career after that with Love the Coopers, which was not a very good movie. And I don't know, like, I think this movie could have been a whole lot better if they delved more into the relationship between Liotta and Goldberg. They're trying their best here to save it, as is Tina Majornio, who we talked about with Andre a couple weeks prior to this, but I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's just a movie that I don't think really took all the opportunities they had to tell a good story here. I think there is a good idea here, but it's just not a very solid film all around. It's a film that I thought could have worked a lot better if they delved more into the complications of their relationship and more time with the kid and all that, but it's not a terrible movie. It's just not one that's really all that memorable. It's a film that I saw it once. I thought it was just alright, but as it is, it's just kind of like, it's there. It's nothing too special, but it's not the worst thing I've seen. I mean, like I said, Milk Money's much worse, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on this one, Corrina Corrina. So let's move on to the next movie here. Kind of an underrated gem starring Samuel L. Jackson and Giancarlo Esposito, and that is Fresh.
Just watching the world pass you by. Think as long as you ain't drowning, everything's alright.
New York City.
If I had me $1 million, I'd give me a Porsche 959.
Well, who cares? Because you ain't never gonna have $1 million anyway.
In a world of deep loyalties.
You get bigger, you're gonna be the man.
We're gonna put it on speed today.
Where survival means saying nothing.
That's right!
What one boy saw
Go tell somebody you saw something!
could have made him the next victim.
It's the second homicide you've been mixed up with in as many weeks.
I didn't see nothing.
Now what he knows is changing the power of the streets.
You just a little kid in way over his head.
You want my king. You got to come get my king.
I'm a dropper, man. I'm a go drop him.
You always trying to scare me, but I ain't scared of you no more.
Fresh. Critics call it powerful and riveting. Electrifying. And Siskel and Ebert hail 2 thumbs up. Samuel L. Jackson, Giancarlo Esposito, Nabushe Wright, and introducing Sean Nelson.
Ready for the real thing? Ready to come get it? You ready to be king?
I ain't scared.
So yeah, this is kind of an underrated urban crime thriller that came out in the middle of the hype of that specific genre. You have Boaz Yankin, who is best known for his work on Remember the Titans. This was his film feature debut, his writing and directorial debut, and this is also the feature film debut for Sean Nelson, who plays the title character of Fresh. And not a bad performance. He really gives it his all in here, and it's just a very interesting story. You're following this 12-year-old kid as he's going through these situations in the ghetto streets of I can't remember where this is located. I think it's New York City, but I don't know. I haven't seen this movie in a while. Well, no, I'm guessing maybe it's New York City, but I could be definitely wrong on that part. But it's a very good movie. It's a film that kind of went under the radar for a lot of people, but it definitely has grown a massive following over the years. I think people really have come to see this movie is very interesting. You're following this 12-year-old kid as he's going through these really critical situations, and you don't really get to see that in movies like this. Like in Boys in the Hood, these guys are teenagers, and in New Jack City, they're teenagers and closer to young adults. But in this case, you're following a 12-year-old kid around, and it's a very interesting perspective that he sees in this, because he's basically trying to survive. Like you see in the trailer, he gets so lucky in these situations, and at some point that luck's going to run out. And he's going to have to think on his feet and use his brain and figure out what to do next. And you got some pretty good performances in here. Samuel L. Jackson is very good in here, as well as Giancarlo Esposito. You have Nabushe Wright from Blade in here as well. Just a really good cast overall, and just a really good setup too. It's a movie that not a lot of people talk about. It has grown a following over the years, and I hope people really do continue to find it, because it's a movie that was really one of the big surprises when I saw it many years ago. And I think it's a very good film, a very underrated little gem here. Definitely check it out if you can. Fresh. It's directed by Boaz Yankin from Remember the Titans. Definitely look for it if you can. Fresh. But let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Steve Martin starring in A Simple Twist of Fate.
Michael McCann led a solitary life.
There he goes again, every week, just like clockwork.
Leave him alone.
But that would all be changed by a simple twist of fate.
Where are you off? What if I kept her?
Do you think you'd make a good father?
Yes, I do. I believe this child belongs with me.
Hello, Mama.
Daddy.
Hey. You gotta test that on your wrist.
What? You think that's hilarious?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look good? Open that just... Hey, look at me. I'm eating it. I'll make you some oatmeal.
There were 2 people who found each other and became a family.
Whoa! You're killing me. You're killing me. Michael McCann has her because of me.
I know.
Now he must hold on to the only thing he ever loved.
Dad, we gotta get out more.
You are her natural father.
You like horses?
Oh, yeah.
You can have them.
Holy smokes.
She's not yours, Michael. She is my child.
Mr. Newland is my real father?
You are not getting her.
Touchstone Pictures presents Steve Martin in the story of a father any child could love.
I want to be an actress.
A daughter anyone would want. And a bond of loyalty that would last forever.
Yes, Matilda! Yes, Matilda!
A simple twist of fate.
So interestingly, this is based off of an 1861 novel called Silas Marner, and it kind of modernizes that story, and it really isn't that much of an impressive story. I mean, you basically have a loner Steve Martin, who eventually finds this kid, and he eventually ends up raising him. And there really isn't a lot there, honestly, but that's what's great about Steve Martin. He can usually take a film like this, a concept like this, and he usually can make it work on his own merits. I mean, he did write this as well, too. And I think it works mostly because of him. There's really nothing all that amazing about it. There's nothing really all that new or different about it, but I think it works very well because the acting overall is very good, not just by Martin, but you also have Gabriel Byrne, Laura Linney, Catherine O'Hara, Stephen Baldwin's also in here as well. And you do like this little kid that plays the daughter that he finds, Alana Austin, and I think she works in that role very well. The biggest problem with the film is the fact that it doesn't really do anything too spectacular or amazing or new or different, but it is what it is. I think it works very well for what it is. I think it could have been a whole lot better in terms of, like, maybe trying to do something a little bit different, but like I said, for what it is, it's perfectly salvageable for what it is. I think it is a film that works well enough as it is, but definitely could have been a whole lot better if they really would have gone all in on it. But you know what? For what it is, I thought it was all right. Well, that was kind of an abrupt way to end that one, but we do end this episode of Time About the Movies. But next time we meet, we'll look at 2 movies, including Trial by Jury and also A Good Man in Africa. So 2 movies to look at next time, and we'll delve into those in the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.